Most people have never been adults, the miracle of reaching adulthood. Imagine being part of the 7% of humanity that has ever had the chance to experience adulthood. In a world where life expectancy has skyrocketed, reaching the age of 20 is nothing short of a miracle. For most of human history, survival beyond childhood was a distant dream, not a given. Yet here you are, living in an era that previous generations could only fantasize about, a time where modern medicine, technology, and knowledge have granted you opportunities unimaginable in the past. But with this gift comes a deeper responsibility, to awaken to life, to not merely exist but to live with purpose, awareness, and inner strength. The path ahead is yours to define. Are you ready to awaken to the profound miracle that is your life? Join us in exploring why reaching adulthood today is one of the rarest and most precious achievements in human history. If you have lived to 20, you are a miracle of humanity. If you have reached or are crossing the age of 20, you belong to one of the luckiest minorities in human history. A truth that most of us do not realize. Living to adulthood has never been normal in the history of mankind, it has been a rare miracle. More than half of all people who ever lived on this planet never had the chance to experience adulthood, never crossed that fragile boundary between childhood and true life. Throughout the long flow of history, the human lifespan was often just a few short years. Life ended before dreams could even sprout, before potential had a chance to unfold. Time was once the cruelest enemy, destroying dreams before they could take shape, extinguishing aspirations before they could ignite. But you are part of a generation that has the rare opportunity to truly grow up, to experience the deepest dimensions of human existence, love, failure, sacrifice, rebirth. You are not just living longer, you are granted the opportunity to understand yourself, to face your fears, to build an inner strength that countless past generations could only dream of. This truth, if you look deeper, is not meant to make us complacent. It is a subtle reminder. Life is not just something to pass through, but something to awaken to heal, to find oneself within. Each extra day you live is not just a biological miracle, but an opportunity to look inward, to understand yourself, others, and the world more profoundly. And on that journey, you have a choice. To live like someone asleep on a precious gift, or to awaken and build a life truly worth living. The history of world population, numbers that tell heartbreaking stories. When we look at today's world, with over 8 billion people existing side by side, it's easy to assume that humanity has always been so populous and vibrant. But the truth holds a much deeper sorrow. If you are alive in 2024, you are sharing the earth with about 7% of all the people who have ever existed in human history. This means that over tens of thousands of years, most of humanity lived, and died, in silence. Long before the age of explosive population growth. Just 200 years ago, in 1800, the global population was barely 1 billion, less than 1/8 of today's figure. Going further back, in 1 CE. During the height of the Roman Empire, the entire world had about 300 million people, roughly the population of a modern country today. And if we look back 10,000 years, when the first seeds of civilization sprouted in early agricultural societies, the whole planet had only about 5 million people, a number minuscule compared to what we now know. These cold figures don't just reflect sparsity. They tell stories of silent loss, of lives cut short before they could blossom. Each number is an unfinished story. Each statistic is a sigh from the fate of humanity. Facing this truth, we realize, to live, to grow up, to experience life, was never guaranteed. It was a tiny miracle amidst the vast uncertainty of human history. And that miracle, today, is in your hands. If you can understand this painful picture, you will stop taking your existence for granted. You will begin to cherish every heartbeat, every moment of love, of learning, of growth. Because every second you live has once been the unfulfilled dream of billions who came before you. Low life expectancy, a sad portrait of ancient humanity. Today, the global average life expectancy is about 73 years. But for most of human history, that number was a distant dream. Not so long ago, in early agricultural societies, average life expectancy was often just 10 to 20 years. Not because humans were incapable of living longer, but because very few had the chance. The infant and child mortality rates were hauntingly high. According to historical data, in Bavaria, Germany, in 1750, 50% of children did not survive to the age of 15. In Roman Egypt around 1 CE, that number was even higher, nearly 60%. For thousands of years, death in childhood was not an exception, it was the rule. For most people, life ended before they could even understand what it meant to grow up, to hope. Death lurked everywhere, in tiny villages, on impoverished fields, in the damp huts of communities dependent on agriculture. Children were born, lived for a few short years, and vanished like lone stars that never had a chance to shine brightly. And that leaves us with a profound lesson today. The fragility of life is not a distant concept, it is inseparable from human nature itself. We, who walk in an age of medicine, science, and technology, often forget how rare our fortune is. Understanding this truth can heal the invisible fears sown by modern life. The pressures for success, the anxieties over fame and career, they become small when placed beside the once ephemeral nature of existence. Each day we awaken, breathe, love, and grow, is a miracle, not a burden. We do not live to chase unreal standards, but to honor the opportunity to grow, to write the next chapters of the story that our ancestors never got to finish. Life is not measured only by the number of years, but deepened by the awareness we carry each day. Modern medicine, the bridge between death and adulthood. For thousands of years, childhood and adulthood were two lands rarely connected. Most people never had the chance to grow up, swept away by disease, hunger, and war. But then, a silent miracle occurred: humanity, through intelligence and perseverance, learned to build strong bridges across the abyss of death. Advances in modern medicine, from improved sanitation, to vaccines, antibiotics, and sophisticated surgical techniques, have completely transformed humanity's destiny. Infant mortality rates have plummeted. Diseases that were once death sentences can now be treated. Our existence today is not accidental. It is the result of centuries of relentless battle against the fragility of human life. Yet here, a new paradox arises. As life becomes easier, we more easily forget its preciousness. We take for granted that living long and living healthy is a right, no longer a gift paid for by the blood, tears, and wisdom of countless generations. Understanding the history of medicine is not just about gratitude. It reminds us of something deeper. Living long is an opportunity for true growth, not just physically, but spiritually. Maturity is not simply about the number of years lived. It is about learning to face oneself, our fears, wounds, expectations, and inner limits. You have been granted a rare opportunity in human history, not just to survive, but to master your life, to build inner strength, and to control yourself amid the storms of the times. Today, maturity is no longer an accidental miracle, but a conscious choice for those who know how to cherish life. Remember, you are not only inheriting the fruits of medicine. You are also carrying a mission on your shoulders. To live more deeply, more worthily, in honor of the miracles our ancestors never even had the chance to touch. What is ordinary today was once a distant dream. We live in a world where light can be turned on with a simple touch. Where distances of thousands of kilometers are bridged within a few hours of flight, where the entirety of human knowledge fits in the palm of our hands through small devices. Yet few pause to wonder, how many generations before us lived entire lives without ever knowing these simple things? More than half of humanity who ever lived never even heard of concepts like mechanical clocks, toilet paper, printed books, electric lights, airplanes, or even the idea of stars beyond the celestial bodies they observed each night. They had no right to choose their work, where they lived, or the direction of their lives. Most were born to become farmers, died on the very soil they tilled, and never once asked, "Who am I? What do I want?" The ability to read, write, and think independently, things we now take for granted, were once privileges reserved for a tiny few. And concepts such as human rights, freedom of thought, the pursuit of personal happiness, for most of history, simply did not exist. Realizing this truth, we may suddenly feel the suffocating pressures of modern life lighten. The anxieties about not being good enough, successful enough, or recognized enough, all seem smaller. Because just being alive, having choices, being able to learn, and existing freely already means you're living a dream that billions before you never even imagined. Instead of complaining about what you don't have, learn to be grateful for what you do. Instead of letting the fear of comparison rule you, ask yourself, how can I use this freedom as a gift, not as a burden? You are on a journey that countless ancestors never had the chance to take. The journey of freedom, the journey of growing within your own soul. And that journey only truly begins when you recognize the miraculous gift you are holding in your hands. Your existence today, a miracle beyond imagination. Each morning when we wake up, few of us realize that we are living a moment that barely existed throughout most of human history. Your presence. Reaching adulthood, in a world of modern medicine, advanced technology, and expansive knowledge, is not merely an extension of evolution, it is a miracle. A silent miracle we often forget. From the perspective of the billions who once walked this earth, you are experiencing things they never dared to dream of. You have the opportunity to live longer, to learn more, to feel more deeply, and to transform yourself through different stages of life. You have been gifted with time, a resource that was once incredibly scarce. But the easier something is to attain, the easier it is for us to fall into illusion. We often think we have endless tomorrows, that opportunities will always be there waiting. And in that procrastination, we lose the beauty of the present moment, a moment our ancestors never had. Extended existence does not just allow us to live more, it demands that we live deeper. Deeper in feeling. Deeper in awareness, deeper in our connection with ourselves and the world. If you truly understand the fragility proven by history, you will stop taking long life for granted. You will begin to ask more important questions: how am I living? Who am I becoming? What am I leaving behind for this world? Understanding the miracle of existence is not to instill fear or regret, but to ignite deep gratitude and a fervent desire to awaken to each moment. From there, we can heal invisible wounds, build resilient inner strength, and live lives that are not only long, but also profound and fulfilling. The nature of humanity, both creators and self-destroyers. Humans are the strangest creatures on this planet. We can turn deserts into dazzling cities, bridge oceans with colossal constructions, and send parts of ourselves into the farthest corners of space. Yet at the same time, we destroy our own home. Deforesting, polluting oceans, devastating the very environment that nurtured us since humanity's dawn. The nature of humans is paradoxical. We create miracles with one hand, and with the same hand touch the button of destruction. We carry within us the capacity to birth both beauty and pain. And what is unique about our era is this: for the first time in history, human creative and destructive powers have both reached unprecedented heights. This places a personal responsibility on each of us. We must awaken to our own power. Not only to technological advancements, but also to what we are creating within our own lives. You are the architect of your life. Every choice you make, to love or to resent, to build or to destroy, to forgive or to nourish wounds, shapes the small world around you, and from there, contributes to shaping the larger world. If you have never thought you had influence, know this: your very existence today is proof. You inherit the fruits of thousands of years of evolution, creation, and struggle. But you also carry the responsibility to repair what is unfinished. To heal the wounds humanity itself has caused. Humans can be both creators and destroyers. But you have a choice. You can choose to live unconsciously. Or you can choose to seize this extraordinary opportunity. The opportunity to heal yourself, and to make a small but precious contribution to the healing of the world. Awakening is not something distant. It begins with how you breathe, how you treat yourself, and how you sow the seeds for the tomorrows you will never regret. The immortality quest, when humanity challenges death. From the moment we first feared, humans have dreamed of immortality. Ancient myths, old faiths, and legends of fountains of youth all reveal a silent obsession, to surpass death, to conquer the finitude of life. But it was all a distant dream, until humanity entered an era where that dream began to have scientific grounding. Today, with modern medicine, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and genetic engineering, humans are standing at the threshold of challenging death as the ultimate boundary. Scientists are researching ways to slow aging, replace organs with nanotechnology, and store human memories in computer systems. What once belonged to the realm of science fiction is gradually becoming tangible goals. Yuval Noah Harari once wrote, "The next targets of humankind will be immortality, happiness, and the upgrading of humans into gods." In this vision, death is no longer the default end, but a technical problem to be fixed. We are moving toward a world where aging will be delayed, where pain could be programmed out, and where wounds might be overcome with machines. But amid all these ambitions, a core question quietly echoes. Will living forever make life more meaningful? Without inner awakening, without the ability to heal emotional wounds, without learning how to love and to let go. Physical immortality is merely the prolongation of an empty existence. A person may live 200 years, but if their soul does not mature, does not understand, then each day will still be a repetition of loneliness and confusion. Death, in a way, has always been a humble reminder: live deeply, because time is finite. If someday humanity overcomes biological death, that lesson must be remembered even more. Meaning does not lie in how long we live, but in how we live. Overcoming death is not the solution to fear. Only the maturation of the soul can make life, whether short or long, truly complete and radiant. Awakening in a world of miracles and illusions. We are living in an era where miracles and illusions coexist. With just a light touch, we can access the treasure trove of human knowledge. With just a few hours, we can fly halfway across the earth. What our ancestors once dreamed of has today become reality, so seamlessly woven into our daily lives that we often forget how extraordinary it truly is. We have learned to measure time in seconds, to see distant planets, to perform heart surgeries, to heal diseases that were once death sentences. We have the freedom to read, learn, travel, love, and create our lives in countless ways unimaginable to past generations. But along with these miracles come new, more sophisticated illusions. The illusion that comfort equates to happiness. The illusion that living longer automatically means living meaningfully. The illusion that technology can heal the emptiness that resides deep within the human soul. We have become creatures flooded with information yet starved for meaning. We touch the world, yet lose true connection with ourselves. We walk amid endless conveniences, yet easily lose our inner compass. The truth is, the miracles of this era only truly hold meaning when accompanied by inner awakening. No device can replace a heart that knows how to feel. No technology can heal the silent loneliness within a human being. Awakening does not demand grand, immediate changes. It begins simply, with stopping, truly stopping, to look at your life with new eyes, eyes of gratitude, eyes of understanding, eyes that steadfastly choose the path of growth over drifting. Amid a busy and chaotic world, inner awakening is the quiet yet most powerful revolution you can ignite. Not just to live long, but to live deeply, to live authentically. To live every moment fully, as a personal declaration of the indescribable miracle of being human. Healing existential anxiety, don't just exist, live deeply. In today's world, where people live longer than ever before, a silent paradox unfolds: existential anxiety does not disappear, it spreads wider. As physical dangers like epidemics and wars recede, the human mind begins to face a greater void, the emptiness of meaning in life. No longer battling daily for survival, we find ourselves wrestling with nameless questions. What am I living for? Am I truly happy? Does my existence hold meaning in this vast world? This anxiety is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that you are awake enough to realize. Existence is not merely about prolonging life, it is about seeking meaningful presence. To heal this silent anxiety, we must shift our perspective. It is not about seeking a perfect life free of suffering and conflict. It is about learning to embrace our imperfections, to find value in even the smallest moments. To choose to live meaningfully even when the bigger answers remain unseen. Healing is not about eliminating anxiety completely. Healing is about sitting with it, listening to it, and moving forward, without letting it control you. It is understanding that every insecurity is merely an invitation to go deeper into your inner self, rather than running away. You don't need to have all the answers to live fully. You just need to begin with one small choice: to live presently, to live sincerely, and to live with awareness. Then, each day you live will no longer be a meaningless existence, but a silent and powerful declaration. I am here. I am alive. I choose to grow. Proactively shaping your life, from mere survival to meaningful living. There is a subtle but decisive difference between two types of people. Those who live merely to survive, and those who live proactively to create a meaningful life. For most of history, when the average lifespan was only a few short years, humans were forced to survive day by day, battling poverty, disease, and war. Surviving itself was a miracle. But today, in a world where longevity is more attainable, the real challenge is no longer survival. The real challenge is how to live fully and meaningfully. Longer life has granted you something your ancestors desperately desired: time. But time, without awareness, is just sand slipping through your fingers. Without awakening, we easily fall into a loop, living by society's expectations, chasing after someone else's measures of success. Losing ourselves in an invisible race with no finish line. The shift from surviving to meaningful living begins with a single decision. I will define my life, rather than letting life define me. This does not require you to achieve grand feats or change the world. It begins with small, steady choices. Choosing integrity when lying would be easier. Choosing patience when anger would come quicker. Choosing gratitude over complaint. Choosing love over defense. Each of these small decisions, made daily, accumulates into a conscious life. A life not merely measured by the number of years lived, but expanded by the depth of experience and inner growth. You are holding a rare opportunity in human history. Not just to live long, but to live with choice, with awareness, with the power to shape your own destiny. And on this journey, you are no longer merely a survivor. You become a true living being, one who lives with the full awakening of a soul that knows who it is and why it exists. You are living amidst a miracle. If there's one message this journey reminds us of, it's this. Your existence today is neither random nor inevitable. It is a miracle woven from the unfinished dreams of countless humans before you. You are living in a world that your ancestors only dared to dream about. You are holding time, knowledge, and freedom, gifts that once belonged only to mythology. And above all, you have an opportunity they never had, the chance to live not only a long life, but a deep and fulfilling one. We cannot choose the era we are born into, but we can choose how we live each day. Not to squander this precious gift in illusion and forgetfulness, but to awaken, to heal, And to build a life of meaning, a life you can be proud to look back on. Don't merely pass through life like a shadow. Light it up with your full presence, with authentic love. And with a genuine desire to grow from within. And when you live this way, you do not live only for yourself. You are completing a chapter that humanity has left unfinished for thousands of years.